Michael Fabricant. Good morning, Michael. Lovely to see you. I was a little bit surprised to hear that we're going to train Ukrainian fighters to fly fighter jets. That's surely got to be a step towards us.
It's a major step forward, and we're doing Marines as well. So, in other words, what we're saying, and by the way, notice I'm wearing my Ukrainian tie. I'll be there cheering on Volodymyr Zelensky, to pronounce his name precisely. Yes, it's a major change, because previously we were talking about only training the army. That's all countries doing that. And once again, Britain is leading the way, because we were the first, as you know, to provide anti-tank weapons, which stopped the Russian army from taking control of Kyiv, the capital. We were the first people to provide battle tanks, and now we're the first people to provide air training too.
Well, does that mean we're the first people to go and give a lot of taxpayers' money to a war that people are getting quite tired of?
Well, you know what? People probably said that in 1938 when Hitler marched into Czechoslovakia, and the Prime Minister at the time said, well, so what? This is a little country of which we know little about. It doesn't matter. 1 year later, we were at war. Look, you cannot appease aggressors, and it's quite clear that Putin is deranged, and it's quite clear that Putin, if he were to invade Ukraine successfully, and he has been stopped so far, it would lead on to other things, because he thinks that Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia, which are NATO countries, should also be a part of Greater Russia.
I don't want to sit here as though I'm defending Putin, but I think we have to be very careful, and I think the British public at the moment feel that the way that Zelensky has been deified, when he was roundly recognised as being in one of the most corrupt governments in Europe before Russia invaded. There had always been skirmishes on the border with Russia for at least, we're getting on to 9 years now, before it escalated. Do we have serious questions to ask, though, about the continuation, the funding of this? Putin has been very clear from the beginning that all he really wanted was Ukraine to go back into his very sentimentalised vision of the former Soviet Union. We haven't heard him say he wished that he could extend strikes and the territorial ownership of other European countries.
Yes, Putin has said that. Putin has said that. I mean, at the moment, he is leaving Belarus alone because the government there is very pro-Kremlin.
Yeah.
But he has talked about the Baltic states, and he has talked about the restoration, not of the Soviet Union, because that was a communist people's republic, but talking about having the same territorial borders as the Soviet Union. No, the man is deranged. And as for Volodymyr Zelensky, look, he is fighting corruption now. He knows that if he's going to ever join the European Union, if he's ever going to join NATO, he's got to be a Western democracy.
Talking of corruption. Right, let's talk about issues.
Yes.
Let's talk about
They
issues.
probably feel at home.
Quite. Let's talk about issues closer to home, Michael. The reshuffle yesterday, what are your takeouts from the changes?
Well, if the changes were made, and I don't think they were, but if the changes were made to try and attract more voters, then we're whistling into the sky. It's not going to achieve that. People aren't interested in that. We've been in government for 12 years. When we have the general election, it'll probably be 13 or 14 years. And people are thinking, you know what? The government is boring. Let's have a change. Let's go for another boring government led by an even more boring leader, Keir Starmer. What the people want is delivery. Now, we've had some good economic news today, which is that Britain is unlikely this year to go into recession. Remember, Germany and most other EU countries are in recession, so that's not going to happen. But people want to feel good. They want to feel that this country has a vision. Now, Rishi Sunak and Jeremy Hunt gave great speeches, but people aren't listening anymore because they're not interested in speeches. What they're interested in is action that produces results. So my own view is, if this reshuffle, it's not just a reshuffle, it's actually changing government departments.
Yeah, that's the most significant part of the change.
That's much more significant than the actual reshuffle. If that actually achieves the action that we want,